At the start of the story, Masugu and Mitsuya say, "Why don't we go on a date secretly?" In the next scene, everyone at the office is gossiping, saying two people are dating. Haya approaches Masugu and asks, "What do you think about office romance?" Masugu replies, "I've never thought about it." Just then, Arya tells the employees, "Are you here to work or gossip?" Mitsuya calls Masugu by his name and says, "Your work got rejected again. Can't you do your job properly?" Masugu responds, "Don't teach me how to do my job. I do my work properly." In the next scene, Mitsuya visits Masugu at his house to apologize. Mitsuya says, "I didn't know how to react." Masugu asks Mitsuya, "Are we dating each other?" Mitsuya replies, "If we weren't dating, why would I be here?" Masugu says, "We argue in the office, but we also have feelings for each other. And now we've finally become lovers. We have to keep this a secret." Mitsuya agrees, "You're right. We won't tell our colleagues either." Masugu says, "We should talk normally in the office, not like today." Mitsuya refuses, and Masugu wonders, is this how she'll treat her boyfriend? Mitsuya says, "We won't look into each other's eyes in the office. If we meet outside, it'll be 3 stations away. On our days off, we'll stay at each other's place, but we won't go on dates outside." Masugu feels sad, but when he looks at Mitsuya, he thinks, "You're really cute." Then Masugu says, "At least we can go out on our days off." Mitsuya refuses, saying, "Someone might see us." Masugu thinks, "In just one day, I'm feeling more than a normal date would." Mitsuya suggests, "We can wear masks when we go out." "That's a good idea." Masugu happily says, "Mitsuya is so awesome." Mitsuya adds, "We'll keep our relationship a secret. I really want to enjoy my dates." Blushing, Mitsuya says, "It would be really embarrassing if everyone found out." Hearing this, Masugu pulls Mitsuya close and says, "You make my heart race so much." In the next scene, Masugu is working in his department at the office. Mitsuya says, "I'll go to the department and meet Masugu." In the next scene, Masugu finishes work and gets a message from Mitsuya. "I went home." Masugu steps outside and tries calling Mitsuya, but she has already fallen asleep. The next day, Masugu is taking the elevator down when Mitsuya enters on the 9th floor. Masugu and Mitsuya make eye contact and stand very close to each other. Masugu thinks, "I have to control myself." Masugu notices that Mitsuya is blushing and her ears are turning red. Hayakawa sees them and says, "You both know each other really well and are always arguing." Feeling nervous, Mitsuya anxiously replies, "No, I don't even know his name properly." Masugu thinks, "I hope we don't get exposed." Just then, the elevator reaches the 3rd floor, and Hayakawa steps out. Masugu thinks, "Now I'll be alone in the elevator with Mitsuya." However, a crowd enters, and Masugu feels disappointed. Mitsuya tries to talk to Masugu, and he thinks, "She's so close to me, but she has no idea what I'm feeling right now." Both Masugu and Mitsuya start blushing, and their hands touch. Masugu holds Mitsuya's hand, and they get even closer in the elevator. In the next scene, Masugu is at home, talking to Mitsuya on the phone. They plan to watch a movie together. Mitsuya says, "We've been dating for a month now. Call me Yui. I'd really like that." Finally, Masugu arrives at the station to meet Mitsuya for the movie. Masugu is surprised when he sees her and says, "Your hair looks really nice." Mitsuya replies, "You were late, so I fixed my hair in the ladies' room." Masugu says, "Your hair looks really beautiful, Yui." Blushing, Mitsuya says, "Keep calling me Yui. I like it." Masugu says, "Let's go watch the movie." Masugu doesn't like the movie, but Mitsuya, feeling scared, holds Masugu's hand. Masugu enjoys the moment. After the movie ends, they step outside. Masugu and Mitsuya decide to go for dinner. Just then, Mr. Sia calls out to Mitsuya, making her blush. Mr. Sia tells Masugu, "It's been a long time since we last met." Mr. Sia was Mitsuya's senior in college. While chatting, Mr. Sia tells Masugu, "You've been given a new project. Do it well." Masugu thinks he used to be really popular, and there were rumors that he and Mitsuya were dating. This makes Masugu feel uneasy. As Mitsuya and Masugu head back, Mitsuya thanks him. Masugu teases her, "You call Sia by his first name, but not me." Mitsuya gets embarrassed. Just then, Masugu leans in to kiss her, but Mitsuya doesn't let him kiss her. In the next scene, Masugu and Mitsuya are in bed together, having spent the night together. Mitsuya is blushing a lot. In the next scene, they are heading to the office. Masugu asks, "Is it okay to wear the same clothes as yesterday?" Mitsuya replies, "I didn't go home, so I'll change at the office." Masugu and Mitsuya take the train to work, and when they see each other at the office, they blush. Masugu and Mitsuya were chatting, and then they both meet at the station. Masugu and Mitsuya go to a bar and enjoy themselves. Mitsuya tells Masugu, "I've made my first food product." But Mitsuya is confused about how the food product turned out. She made 2 samples and can't decide which one is better. In the next scene, Mitsuya goes to Masugu's department to meet Morizuno. Mitsuya's friend had told her to meet Morizuno because Morizuno reviews food and uploads it on social media. Morizuno tastes Mitsuya's food and gives her suggestions about the good and bad points. Morizuno guides Mitsuya well and requests, "Please don't tell anyone about my secret skill." Morizuno tells Mitsuya, "Masugu is very helpful. He helps everyone." In the next scene, it's a holiday, and Mitsuya is washing dishes with Masugu. Masugu's hands are hurting, so Mitsuya gives him a massage. Masugu asks Mitsuya, "Why did you go to Morizuno?" Mitsuya tells him everything. In the next scene, Mitsuya is distributing her food product in the office for everyone to taste. She needs to collect reviews about how they liked it. Meanwhile, the boss is very angry at Masugu. Masugu had done his work well, but the boss takes out his family's anger on him. Mitsuya gives Masugu a food sample, too. He eats it but doesn't say anything. Mitsuya gets angry and says, "Give me a proper review." Masugu tells her the negative and positive points of her product. Mitsuya thanks him and leaves. In the next scene, Hayakawa is throwing a party for everyone. Masugu thinks Mitsuya will be busy and agrees to go to the party, but when Masugu arrives at the party, Mitsuya is already there. Mitsuya drinks quite a bit. Masugu notices Mitsuya has had too much to drink. When Mitsuya goes to the restroom, Masugu follows her. Mitsuya is sitting down, and Masugu tries to take care of her. Mitsuya is in a romantic mood and gets very close to Masugu. Just then, Somei arrives and overhears everything. He says, "Are you two secretly dating?" Masugu is forced to explain, and they get exposed in front of Somei. The next day, Masugu and Mitsuya are sitting in a cafe, wearing masks and thinking about what to do with Somei. Mitsuya says, "I don't want anyone to find out about us." Masugu replies, "Don't worry, we're not doing anything wrong." In the next scene, Hayakawa comes to Masugu in the office and says, "The boss has approved your work." During lunch, Masugu goes to Somei and says, "Don't tell anyone what you know about us. It's better to keep personal and professional life separate." Masugu requests Somei, "Please don't tell anyone." Somei replies, "Don't worry, I wasn't going to tell anyone anyway." Masugu relaxes and leaves. Mitsuya is having a meeting with her team. Suddenly, Somei arrives, and Mitsuya gets nervous when she sees him. But Somei doesn't say anything about their date, so Mitsuya relaxes. Masugu brings donuts to Mitsuya's house, and Mitsuya is overjoyed. Mitsuya brings the donuts and asks Masugu, "Which flavor do you want?" Masugu replies, "Any flavor is fine with me." Masugu looks at Mitsuya and thinks, "I could watch Mitsuya like this all day." He asks her, "Do you like sweets?" Mitsuya replies, "You're right. I try different sweets based on people's suggestions. I really like sweets." She asks Masugu, "Do you like them?" Masugu says, "Not that much." In the next scene, Masugu brings donuts for Mitsuya on his way home from work. He tells her, "These donuts are really good." Hearing this, Mitsuya gets close to Masugu and kisses him. Masugu is left stunned, just staring at her. Mitsuya quickly leaves, saying, "I needs to make coffee." Masugu thinks to himself, "I really want to know more about Mitsuya." Mitsuya tells Masugu, "I still get nervous talking to Somei." Masugu reassures her, Somei is a good guy. He won't tell anyone. In the next scene, Masugu and Mitsuya are discussing packaging ideas with their team at the office. They talk about how Angel Donuts has great packaging and how they should do something similar. The employees suggest, "We should go to the accounts department for the budget." The other employees leave, leaving Mitsuya and Somei to handle the work. Mitsuya is nervous, but Somei says, "You don't trust me at all, do you?" "I won't tell anyone." Mitsuya replies, "I do trust you," and apologizes to Somei. In the next scene, Masugu is working when Hayakawa asks him to fetch some papers. He goes and finds the papers easily. As he's about to leave, he hears Mitsuya fall in another room. Masugu says, "This room is full of scattered papers." Mitsuya and Masugu clean up the room together and organize the papers. Mitsuya asks Masugu for help, reaching a high shelf. Masugu reaches for the shelf, but accidentally looks in the wrong direction. Embarrassed, he says, "You get down, I'll handle it." He gives Mitsuya his hand and says, "Grab it quickly." But Mitsuya doesn't grab it, and in the struggle to get down, they both fall. Mitsuya and Masugu end up very close to each other. Masugu is about to kiss her when their colleagues walk in. Mitsuya and Masugu freeze and get even closer to hide. Masugu thinks, if someone sees us, it'll be bad. He tries to control himself, but they're still very close. Mitsuya tells him, don't panic, just stay close to me. Masugu moves even closer to her. The colleagues leave, and Mitsuya and Masugu sigh in relief, saying, we barely escaped. At the office, Hayakawa shows Masugu baseball tickets, and he's thrilled. In the next scene, everyone is at the stadium. Hayakawa had invited Mitsuya too. Masugu is happy because Mitsuya is sitting right next to him. Mitsuya doesn't know much about baseball. Masugu excitedly explains the game to her and accidentally gets too close. Then, they go outside to get food. Masugu tells Mitsuya, I really love baseball. Mitsuya replies, I know. This is my first time watching a baseball game, and I'm enjoying it too. The crowd is huge, so Masugu holds Mitsuya's hand. As they head back to the stadium, a home run happens. Masugu gets so excited that he gives Mitsuya a tight hug. After that, they enjoy the game while eating snacks. Mitsuya is at the store, feeling very sad. She thinks, no one has bought the sweets I made. Masugu approaches Mitsuya and asks, is something wrong? Mitsuya replies, no, I'm just having trouble focusing because of work. Mitsuya is checking the reviews for her product, but no one has given it any ratings. Just then, Somei arrives and hands her some papers for data entry. Mitsuya can't focus on her work. She's too busy thinking about her sweet product. Her friend comes to taste her product, but Mitsuya refuses and is visibly upset. In the next scene, Mitsuya goes to Masugu's house and starts drinking. She says, no one is promoting my product. Everyone is focused on the older products. I know my product is good, but no one is paying attention or buying it. Masugu says, it really hurts when you put your heart into something and don't get a response. Mitsuya replies, you're right. Masugu reassures her, don't worry, you'll get what you want eventually. The next day, Mitsuya is at the store when two girls approach her product. They say, this is a new product, and buy it. Mitsuya is overjoyed and leaves the store feeling happy. In the next scene, Mitsuya is sitting with her friends, eating sweets, when she overhears some girls talking about Masugu. They say, Masugu is so helpful and really nice. Mitsuya tries to ignore them, thinking, I don't want our relationship to get ruined. She feels jealous. The girls continue, Masugu doesn't have a girlfriend. Should I become his girlfriend? Mitsuya gets confused, and even her friends start talking about Masugu. She nervously thinks, am I not a good girlfriend? The next day, Mitsuya goes to Masugu's house, dressed up more than usual. Masugu is surprised because they hadn't planned to meet. He asks, is something wrong? Mitsuya says, I'm feeling hot. Masugu replies, I'll turn on the AC. Mitsuya clarifies, no, I'm wearing something special today. Do you want to see? Masugu says, no, I don't need to see. You look stressed. I don't want to make things awkward. Tell me what's going on. Mitsuya explains everything to Masugu. He says, I'm not popular at all. Don't worry. I don't look at anyone but you. Suddenly, Mitsuya takes off her outfit and kisses Masugu. Masugu is completely lost in the moment. Mitsuya says, I really like you. Masugu thinks, this is such a lucky night. He tells her, you don't have to force yourself to do this. But the mood is already set. The next day, Mitsuya is exhausted at the office, reminiscing about the previous night. She heads to the elevator, where the same girls who were praising Masugu are also waiting. Suddenly, Masugu enters the elevator. The girls are thrilled and try to talk to him. They ask, what do you do every day? Masugu replies, I spend time with my girlfriend. Then everyone leaves the elevator. Masugu announces that the office is on summer vacation break. Hayakawa then asks Masugu about his plans. Masugu is lost in thought, reminiscing about the past. Mitsuya and Masugu are arguing because Masugu wants to go to Hokkaido, while Mitsuya wants to go to Okinawa. Mitsuya tells Masugu, you never listen to me. Masugu replies, won't you get sunburned there? Mitsuya says, I'll have so much fun, wearing a swimsuit, seeing the blue beaches, and eating delicious food. What will you do in Hokkaido? Masugu replies, I want to relax in the hot springs and try the local food. Mitsuya says, this is our first trip together. We shouldn't fight. Feeling down, Masugu says, fine, we'll go wherever you want. Masugu accidentally reveals, I had booked a private hot spring in Hokkaido and wanted to bath with you. He blushes deeply, and Mitsuya is shocked. Masugu explains, this is our first trip. I didn't want it to go to waste, so I made special plans. Mitsuya, blushing, says, oh, I'm going to take a bath. Do you want to join me? For the first time, they take a bath together. Masugu is thinking about all this while at the office. In the next scene, Mitsuya is finishing up her work to head home when she gets a message from Masugu. She's overjoyed and thinks, Masugu cares so much about me. Masugu is packing his bags when Mitsuya messages him, I'm coming home. Meanwhile, Mr. Mita calls her, stressed about product delivery because the packaging isn't finished. Mr. Mita asks, Is your work done? Mitsuya replies, I have something important at home. I need to leave. Mr. Mita says, We don't have a choice. We have to finish this now. Mitsuya gets upset, and everyone starts working on the packaging. Masugu keeps calling Mitsuya, but she doesn't pick up. Mr. Mita says, We'll have to work until tomorrow. Mitsuya is stressed because she's supposed to leave for the trip tomorrow. Determined, Mitsuya says, We'll finish this today. Finally, all the work is done by night. Everyone heads home, and Mitsuya boards a train. Suddenly, Masugu shows up on the same train. Mitsuya asks, What are you doing here? Masugu replies, First, tell me why you weren't answering my calls or messages. Mitsuya says, I forgot to check my phone. She explains about the extra work and how it took so long. Masugu says, It's okay. You're safe, and that's what matters. They get closer. On the trip, a news reporter approaches them and asks, Can you give us a quick interview about this place? Mitsuya isn't ready and shyly runs away. In the next scene, Mitsuya sees a field of sunflowers. She and Masugu walk through it, enjoying their time together. Masugu looks at Mitsuya and says, You're so beautiful. He kisses her. At night, they're in their hotel room after taking a shower together. As they talk, they end up drinking quite a bit. Mitsuya, blushing, says, I'm so happy you're with me, Masugu. Both get drunk and start kissing each other. The next morning, they wake up in the same bed. Mitsuya pushes Masugu back onto the bed and climbs on top of him, saying, I want to do it all over again. Just then, the receptionist knocks on the door, asking about breakfast. In the next scene, Mitsuya and Masugu explore many places and enjoy themselves. They also shop for gifts for their friends. They come across a grape shop with a vineyard nearby. Masugu says, My parents also work in a grape vineyard. I hope they're not here. Mitsuya asks, Aren't you going to meet your family? Masugu replies, It's their busy season. I'll visit later. Mitsuya tastes the grapes, which are delicious. They talk and admire the view, saying, This place is amazing. The next day, Mitsuya and Masugu are in bed again, thinking about taking a bath together. They go to take a bath, and Masugu asks Mitsuya about her next project. Mitsuya says, I've got so many ideas in my mind now. What are you going to do? Masugu replies, I'll take on something challenging. Mitsuya suggests, Let's set a goal. Whoever doesn't achieve it pays the room rent. Finally, it's back to the office. Hayakawa asks Masugu, How was your trip? Your family must have been happy to see you. In the next scene, Mitsuya and Masugu are studying because both have goals to achieve next year. Mitsuya is learning about marketing to improve her chocolate product. The next day, Mitsuya's manager tells her, Your product is doing really well. We'll get a great response next year. Mitsuya is thrilled, but the manager adds, You'll need to make even more progress with the product. Mitsuya leaves thinking, I need to take my product to the next level. In the next scene, Mita and Mitsuya are heading to a meeting with a new department. They enter the meeting room, and Hiromi reviews the papers, giving many suggestions. Then, Mita has to step out of the room, and Hiromi offers Mitsuya a position in his department. Hiromi says, I need hardworking employees like you. Think about it and let me know. Mitsuya tells Masugu everything, and he says, There's nothing wrong with changing departments. Mitsuya is confused. The offer is good, but she doesn't want to leave her friends and current department. The next day, Mitsuya is presenting in a meeting when she gets a call from the manufacturing department. She can't decide what to do. The following day, Mitsuya opens her laptop at the office and finds an email from Hiromi with learning resources. Mitsuya makes a mistake, and her boss scolds her. She goes to her room, feeling upset. In the next scene, Mitsuya goes to Masugu's house and says, I need to forget everything right now. Mitsuya tells Masugu, I'm so confused because of the new department. That's why I've been making so many mistakes. Masugu takes Mitsuya out to cheer her up and help her relax. The next day, Hiromi meets Mitsuya and talks about the new project. Hiromi says, Don't waste your time where your talent isn't valued. Mitsuya goes to her manager and says, I want to work on an individual project too. The manager replies, Okay, I'll put your project on hold for now. We'll see how it goes. In the next scene, Mitsuya is eating cake at home and finally makes a decision about what to do. She goes to Hiromi and says, I want to stay in the planning department for now, so I'm rejecting your offer. Mitsuya adds, will you let me participate in the new business department study sessions? I want to fulfill my dreams and improve my product making skills. Hiromi says, you've impressed me. You can join the next session. Mitsuya thanks Hiromi and, feeling happy and relaxed, goes to a spa with Masugu. They both enjoy themselves.